So we know about PV panels. We've talked about some of the advantages and disadvantages of PV panels, but most pictures and books and most of the discussion we've had is about fixed panels that are typically on a south-facing roof. And that's what I think most people think of when they think about solar energy, particularly for a home, maybe for a business as well. Can you tell us what's different and what's special about your panels, and what's it called, first of all?
What we have here is a 2-axis PV tracker. So it moves in the horizontal rotational direction called the azimuth, and a vertical direction that we call elevation. And just like a sunflower, it faces the sunrise and then moves throughout the day and then faces the sunset. And we say that you get almost a minimum of 40% more energy collected by following the sun. And I say minimum because when you mount solar panels on your roof or somewhere else, if it's not an ideal location, the worst case scenario is that, this could be 80% or 100% better than someone's, not quite optimal roof mounted array. But we say 40% as a good number. So now if you do that for less than 40% extra cost, you're in business. You've got a positive return on investment. The other thing we really like about the tracking array is how it handles snow. It snows a lot in New England or places like Colorado, Wyoming, mountains of Utah. If you go around, the Upper Valley, Vermont, New Hampshire after a snowstorm, fixed mount, roof mount arrays are covered in snow for sometimes a week after a snowstorm. Our director of engineering is totally off the grid, and he says he won't get, his roof mount arrays are done for a week. Ours, the morning after. Because we can go vertical, where the panels are vertical while it's snowing, and because we're always facing the sun, there's no maintenance after a snowstorm.
So essentially, you have a more efficient system than a typical. Is that a fair way for us to think about it? We've defined efficiency in terms of using things, and we've also defined efficiency of, say, fossil fuel power plants. So is that a fair way to say that for a given area of PV panel, you're generating more electricity, so that's an increase in efficiency?
I think that's completely accurate, and especially when you think about some of the either rare earth materials or even potentially hazardous materials that are going into high-grade solar panels, it's really effective to be using those materials in the most efficient way you possibly can.
So for a given constructed panel, you want to optimize the amount of solar energy you're capturing and the amount of electricity you're generating.
You got it.
So that's a good point, and that sometimes makes me wonder, should we not put any panels in snowy, cloudy New England and put them all in the southwestern United States, for example?
Yep. They say you could power the entire country with a small corner of Arizona. But the truth is then you'd have a huge distribution problem getting all the power up here to New England. And the truth is, while we don't have quite as much resource as Arizona, we do have 2/3 of the resource. Germany is one of the most progressive countries when it comes to renewable energy, and Vermont has more per unit solar resource than Germany does. Also, when you think about sort of the market conditions that it takes to produce a new emerging technology, it's really important just to sell, and get the product out there, get startup companies, spinning off new ideas, get large multinational companies that are bringing the cost down. So, it's a balance of lots of different things.
For those reasons, those are mostly positive reasons for putting solar in New England. And we have talked about line loss, or we have talked about any kind of an energy installation being close to the users. If it's really far away, you get large transmission lines, and the public doesn't like transmission lines, and there's line loss. And the other thing that we've brought up is that conservation and increasing efficiency are always the first choice before generating new electricity, however you might want to do it. So in that case, I would probably say, have you ever gone to a house where all the doors and windows are leaky, and you've gone to a house that there's just holes in the roof and warm heated air is flowing out, and someone's talking to you about a solar panel, and you want to say to them, have you thought about insulating, which is essentially increasing the efficiency of the home, before you install a photovoltaic panel?
Yes and no. I would say less than sort of like a negligent homeowner who just has no idea that there's huge gaping holes in the wall. You would more tend to see just, you know, maybe large homes and second and third cars and things like that. I think anyone who sort of has the initiative to seek out solar is probably reading up enough that they're familiar with the idea of the negawatt, and you know, at least on some sort of intuitive level, maybe you know, running the numbers on how much they should be putting into their boiler versus a new solar array hasn't been done.
Mike, we haven't introduced the negawatt, a term that Amory Lovins, among others, uses. Yeah. So do you mind defining what's a negawatt?
Amory Lovins coined the term the negawatt. It's just the opposite of a megawatt. Rather than producing a megawatt, you reduce your consumption by a megawatt, and it's an extremely valuable idea.
So the outcome is the same.
The outcome is the same. That's right.